I feel like even though people think it's funny we're fighting for second place or here and there, we still want our cahoots bitch. You know, the fans be making point systems, so it does matter at the end of the day because that's how they rank it. But also,
Am I suffering from drag delusion if I say that this was a little bit about me? Alright, I finally watched season 15 of Drag Race. You might be wondering why I have not watched it when it originally had aired, since I only ever gave half-assed answers. But here, pause. Read this if you care. In short, most of the fault lay with just how bad season 14 was with the production meddling, the editing, and honestly the subpar cast for the challenges that they were given. However, you guys have told me that they, meaning the show, had corrected most of the wrongs from season 14. And you were right about that. However, you did tell me that season 15 was good because of that. A competition being more or less fair does not make it a good viewing experience, and I don't think that season 15 was a good season. It was very vanilla. The cast is comprised of 16 queens, and out of them, only 7 of them, I would say, seemed TV ready and actually made sense to be in this competition. I won't mince my words. Those queens are Sasha, Colby, Anetra, Luxx, Mistress Isabelle Brooks, whom I will refer to as simply MIB from now on, Loosey, Aura, and to an extent Marcia. Sugar and Spice were a gimmick casting choice, and those sometimes work. They sometimes don't work. Whereas someone like, I don't know, Salina is an okay casting choice, but her only strength in the competition, in the storytelling aspect of the show, was that she gave good head, meaning that she had good confessionals. But then, so did Sasha, Luxx, and MIB, but they were also good competitors, so they actually brought something to the competition. So Salina, even though she was an okay casting choice, was another filler. The season was not helped by the fact that it seemed like, as MIB put it, it was the Sasha-Colby meet and greet season. We knew Sasha was going to win, and she 100% deserved her win, but I do wonder if the casting for this season was done in mind that Sasha was going to be on the season and that they would like to see her win, and knowing that she probably would win. But another thing that did not help the season were the 40-minute episodes for such a giant cast. Actually, the 40-minute episodes show that they are good for Drag Race right around episode 5. Previous seasons that had more than 12 queens but had 40-minute episodes knew how to portray these queens, because they knew that not every one of them is important to the overall story of the season. The problem here is that more than half of the cast were simply filler queens. Highly interchangeable and not important to the story. However, Drag Race is not worried about telling season-long stories anymore, but rather 2 to 3 minute long clips that happen 2 to 3 times an episode where a certain queen or a couple of queens are meant to represent a certain social issue that in the end gets solved by just saying, "But then I started doing drag and everything was good." But we all know that that's not how it works. To make matters worse, from 11th episode onwards, when half the queens have already been eliminated, the show turns to 1-hour episodes, and it gets so drawn out. And it does not help that the 11th episode was the stand-up challenge episode where everybody was doo-doo crap. Hindsight is obviously 2020, and they should have kept the lip-sync lala whatever for after that challenge. In general, the challenges for the season were mid, whereas some of the performances were very good. There were too many group challenges where they were not judged in groups, and then also 2 Snatch Games, because Snatch Game has been such a great challenge these past couple of years that doing 2 of them is just what the show needed. Drag Race, as we know, always goes for quantity over quality. Now, granted, Group 1 Snatch Game was very good, but come on. Talk about needing to pull in the audience by doing an iconic challenge so early in the season. Why? Well, because the first episode of the season, like, the first hour of the double premiere, is a pointless episode. Nothing happens there. They could have cut the entire 2-hour footage to just be 1 hour long. Lastly, before we get to talking about the queens and the ranking, the constant talk of social media, queens versus real life queens, would be totally valid if the conversation had actually been deeper and, in general, if it had explored the effects of social media and all the ways that it manipulates us. But we know that on Drag Race, everything has to be surface level. You know the deal, this is the point system in place. After I finish ranking the girls, I'll give the notes and placements, and let's get this roast a cooking. In the last place, we have Irene Dubois. with, surprisingly enough, not a PP score of 0, but of 1, since she has that one mini challenge win. I didn't really write any notes for Irene, but you could kind of tell based on the edit that she would be the first to go, because the edit favored her a lot in that episode. This was the problem with most of the season. You could guess the ending of the episode pretty much from the first 5 or 10 minutes. However, I can appreciate Irene trying something new for the we can't call it a talent show because most queens on Drag Race do not have a talent show, and I get what she wanted to do, but I guess it just did not translate well on stage and the 1 minute that they had for it. In the 15th place, we have Amethyst. You know, I almost thought Amethyst would pull it out after being safe in episode 3, meaning the third competitive episode. Like, maybe she would be a mid-season out that had a bit of a glow up in the competition, maybe even getting like a random win here and there, but that didn't really pan out. I'm not trying to sound like a quirky internet fan that thinks they're cool because, oh, all skinny people look the same, but I could not pick out Amethyst out of a lineup that included her, Sugar, Spice, Princess Poppy, Jax, Marcia, and Robin Fierce, which obviously is not the queen's fault, it's the show's fault for not portraying them better, but yeah. Oh yeah, also, here are some lovely graphs. In the 14th place, we have Princess Poppy. I kinda think she should have stayed over Amethyst in episode 2, but never mind that. She is an icon in my eyes because she came to the reunion dressed as Rebecca Glasscock, another icon of Drag Race. Her graphs of how she did at the competition are not that interesting. In the 13th place, we have Sugar. She and Spice had no luck with Snatch Game coming up so early and exposing their weaknesses. That was so rough to watch. I don't know what the overall thoughts on these two are, but I think that we can all agree on the fact that everything about Sugar and Spice on Drag Race was so rehearsed, and it was clear that they were not there to win and to compete. They were there to get more followers. And listen, I bet that worked. I like the idea of their aesthetic. Some of their looks I really did enjoy, and I bet people find them attractive in and out of drag, but they were portrayed as personifications of people that grew up on social media, that are one-dimensional and have no substance to them. And now listen, that's fine for social media, but for anything where there is longer exposure, like a TV show or God forbid real life, they're just underwhelming, unlikable, and even coming off as stupid. Not ditzy, just like plain stupid, which I know is so unfair to say, but that was just how the show portrayed them. Sugar's track record on the show was not memorable. In the 12th place, we have Salina EsTitties. For me, she just had too much energy, to the point where it seemed fake. Most of her confessionals consisted of her commenting on the situation and then saying honey, then rephrasing that sentence and then saying baby, and then rephrasing it another time and then doing a reaction to what she said. A full stop is her biggest enemy. Cringy reactions that your aunt will use as a gif when texting you are her closest friends. Her track record of either being safe or in the bottom 2 the entire season was not impressive, or did it warrant such a high amount of exposure that she got throughout the season. Next up in the 11th place is Spice. Everything I said about Sugar obviously applies here, but I do prefer Spice's aesthetic more. I did feel very seen when I saw her dancing. I mean, listen, I know that I don't dance like she does, but in my mind, yes, I do. I think it would have been a bigger gag for the rest of the queens if Sugar and Spice had been in different groups episode 1. Obviously, the two of them would have known they were there, but it would have been a much funnier reveal for the rest of the cast to see twins there. In the 10th place, we have Jax. Now, Jax is the first queen in this ranking so far that has had a high placement on the season. Yes, 6 queens from this entire cast never placed above the safe placement. Even though Jax was another filler queen this season, I think she was heavily robbed. Her going out in that Lala whatever episode and then Spice going the next episode was so pointless. Would she have done better than Spice in the Crystal Ball? Probably not, but I think she would have had more of a fighting shot. In the 9th place is Robin Fierce. That read that her name should have been changed to Robin Fine is so accurate given her performance and edit this season. 3 safe placements, a high placement, and then elimination. I don't have much to say here because, again, the showrunners gave us nothing to work with most of this season's cast. In the 8th place, we got Aura Mayari. I'm gonna say this in the most respectful way possible. Call me, oh my god, please call me. Y'all were so lucky I was not watching season 15 while it was airing. I would have been so annoying every week worshipping the ground Aura walks on. Well, okay, that would have lasted for only a couple of weeks because she did not last long in the competition. But for the 6 competitive episodes that she was there, she was lovely. She's definitely my pick for a future All-Star season. In the 7th place, we have the Miss Cuckoo of this season, Malaysia, Babydoll, Foxx. You know what? These names keep getting worse and worse as the seasons go by. Genuine question. How can she call herself the fattest and the baddest when she's like half of MIB's size? Also, why even have that be something you want to be known for? What kind of USA nonsense is this? I can understand why she was Miss Congeniality of this season, and her shining moment of the season was really the Daytona Win 2 challenge, but a high placement for episode 5's ball, electric chair. In the 6th place, we have Marcia with the lovely safe PP score of 3. I think that her placements in the season were, for the most part, fair. However, with that said, I do still think that she was very underappreciated in this season, which sounds a little contradictory. But yeah, I think her placements were fair, but that overall, she should have got a little more praise. She was a solid late season elimination, well-rounded queen with a nice storyline, good confessionals, and in general, a solid mindset for the competition. I think it goes without saying that Anetra and Marcia should have been a double Shantae, but do I smell a video coming? In the 5th place, we have Loosey LaDuca. Oh boy, do I have thoughts! Loosey gave me Dale on season 6 vibes. Strong competitor that feels very rehearsed in everything that they do and say. I kind of get to Loosey's frustration throughout the season because, yes, a lot of queens have voiced their annoyance with their placements, but it was only shown as a problem when Loosey would do it. I assume this was because she did it the most often, so it was constant, and even when it was possibly not even true. Other queens also complained about their spots in the competition, but having less sense than when Loosey did it. Like how what Luxx, MIB, Marcia, and worst of all, Salina were doing for a lot of the episodes. I think it's insane that Loosey was in the bottom 2 in episode 12 because, quote, she looked like she was not having fun. Are we insane? Obviously, they were trying to break her and have her have a meltdown like it happened to LaGanja and Roxy, so I'm glad that Loosey did not give them that. She was fucking pissed, but she did not rip at the seams like the former 2 did. In the 4th place, we have the lovely, the incomparable Mistress, Isabelle Brooks. I love MIB's attitude, and I feel like she would be the type of person in real life that I would get along with very well. On the show, she was a great confessional, great in challenges, whether we're talking performing, comedy, acting, or design. Speaking of, I would have given MIB the win in the ball. She was the closest thing we could have had to a big girl winner, and I kind of think she's going to win her All-Star season whenever she gets cast on there. With that said, I think her exit from the show would have been better had she been the sort of fallen angel character of the season, being eliminated in episode 14 right before the finale. It just would have been a better story, I'd say. In the 3rd place, we have the lovely Anetra. Again, respectfully, call me. Anetra was so endearing to me, and even though she did not get as much of an edit as the other 3 queens in the top 4, she was such a great part of this season. Her backstory was so heartbreaking. That little scene between her and Salina when she opened up to her was so touching and such a beautifully tragic moment that I actually got some feelings happening inside of me, which Drag Race rarely is able to do. I wish nothing but the best for Anetra. I have huge respect for her for what she did in the Lala whatever, saving Spice in the end because she did not want an easy victory in any other season would have been the moment that she secured the crown for herself. However, she just happened to be cast on the season that had Sasha Colby on it, so some All-Stars will be Anetra's, I hope. That means that in the 2nd place we have Luxx, Noir, London. A 3.5 pp score is very impressive, and in fact, her track record is great. Only 1 below safe placement in the entire season, just like Sasha in 1st place, although Luxx's below safe placement was a bottom 2 placement. For the amount of shit that Loosey got for her delusion, I am shocked that no mention of it came when it came to Luxx. She was comparing herself to Sasha and saying that she was statistically in 2nd place, when in fact, after episode 10's Maxi Challenge when she said that, she was in the shared 2nd spot with MIB, Loosey, Anetra, and Marcia was there like right behind them. I get Luxx's confidence because she did have the best runways this season, the best concepts, best overall execution, the best walk. No, Anetra had the best walk, and in most other challenges, Luxx did very well too. But I did find her confessionals very annoying. Obviously, in the first place, we have Sasha Colby with a very strong PP score of 3.916 recurring. Like I said previously, this was Sasha's season to win. And she did win it. And in spectacular fashion. I loved her confidence, her versatility, her intelligence, her wit, honestly, her everything. To me, the moment she secured her crown was with her story about how Beyonce maybe was inspired by her for the Sasha Fierce alter ego. Also, 3 wins before anyone could get 2 wins. I legit would have left the workroom the moment I had seen Sasha in there. I'm actually glad that the producers did not try to hide Sasha's win, because that would have been just silly. But I do think that Luxx should have got the win in episode 14. On one hand, I think that she did better there, but also so that there are at least 2 queens with 3 wins in the finale to make it a little more unpredictable. I also love that Sasha was not shown even for a second as the trans one, meaning that the fact that she's a trans woman was not her only character trait in the season, as was the case with Kylie on All-Star 6. Sasha was shown as a 3-dimensional character, and when we inevitably get the second Doll winner season, Sasha is 100% winning it. Or Bob. One of the two. The biggest winner of this season, aka the queen that placed the most places above her original placement, was my crush from this season, Aura Mayari. This was definitely helped by the fact that only 6 queens from this cast have a maxi challenge win, and 5 of them are in the top 5, with Aura being the odd queen out of that 6, being a mid-season elimination. The biggest loser of this season, interestingly, also placing 6 spots below her original placement, is Salina EsTitties. I think that she has now overtaken Coco's and Darian's records of being the biggest loser. So at least she did that. Alright, minimum notes for the placements. For the whatever, there were no points there. It's not a maxi challenge that has a winner. It's a gimmick episode, it's a stunt episode, it's a filler episode where everything is by chance or given to chance. The first episode that needs some explanation for placements is episode 11, where ironically, nobody had a performance worthy of anything higher than safe. Loosey and Luxx were winners, of course, but Salina and MIB got mixed critiques for both their performance and their runways, so I marked them as safe because mixed critiques means safe. Sasha was in the bottom 3 with Anetra and Marcia, who ended up in the bottom 2, so Sasha was low. Episode 12 was a mess. Honestly, nobody there deserved a low placement. They all did really well. Because Salina and Loosey were the 2 queens voted by the other queens to be eliminated, the editors showed us the most possible negative comments for Salina and Loosey to make their bottom 2 placements make sense. But they still did not make sense. Other than that, everybody else was just high, since literally nobody other than those 2 got any negative critiques. For the makeover, in episode 13, it was pretty simple. Anetra won, Sasha and MIB got positive critiques, but Sasha got more positive stuff than MIB. Furthermore, MIB was told that she went with something simple, but she turned it out. However, I gotta call bullshit on the family resemblance in her look there, because the same thing that they critiqued Luxx for, they ignored MIB for. Therefore, MIB is safe, partially because of a penalty for the judges lying. But also, this isn't important, so who cares? And that's it, that's the video! So, what did you guys think of season 15? And please don't lie, like I beg you, stop lying to me. I'm off to watching season 16, cannot wait to claw my eyes out for the Snatch Game episode though. Also, how season 17? Are the queens' names a little more normal? Thank you for watching.